Hey, what's going on? It's Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project and The Doug Show. In this video, I interview Matt Barnett from Bonjoro. I'm a user of Bonjoro, and if you're unfamiliar with the app, it is a way to boost customer engagement with perfectly timed personal videos, and I read that directly from the website, and I encourage you to check it out. Now, this is a SaaS product that, like I said, I personally use, and basically, when someone enrolls in a course of mine, I send them a personal message and I actually record a message for each individual. So instead of like trying to automate things, instead of trying to like reduce the amount of touch points with an individual, I'm trying to increase it and in fact send even more personal messages just to make sure like they know that I am actually reading their emails that they're sending me and I'm involved. So it's been a great tool for me. I've had excellent results personally in my courses, especially Five-Figure Niche Site. I've been able to help people start and complete the work a little more effectively. So I think there's a piece in there where if people know that I'm sending them a personal message, they're a little more inclined to get started and do the work. So there are many ways to use Bonjoro, and I'll place some links for some of the use cases that you could check out. So I use it for courses, but if you have an agency, maybe you design websites or something like that, you can actually like send these personal video messages to your leads or potential customers to help, bring them into your ecosystem. So Matt's a really smart guy, and I am excited to share this video with you. So let's get to it now. Hey, what's going on? It's Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project, and I'm here with Matt Barnett from Bonjoro. How are you today?
Great, thanks, Doug. Got my coffee, so all good to go.
Excellent. And for the people that don't know you, a lot of people may not have heard of you or Bonjoro. So can you give a quick intro about what you do and what the company does?
Yeah, so I run Bonjoro. So I'm actually a product designer originally. So fan of the company, but I study cross product whenever I can, and I'm not doing day to day. Every other job needs to be done.
Sure.
With Bonjoro, essentially, we are a plugin for CRMs that prompts you to send personalized video messages at specific points on a customer journey to improve conversions, activations, and advocacy amongst users, obviously to grow lifetime value of customers.
Awesome. And I'm a user of Bonjoro, and I became aware, I think for the first time, from Pat Flynn, and he's kind of from the beginning, that's how I got my start online. And I think I saw him using the tool as sort of an onboarding for courses, and I started using it for that specifically as well. And it's been huge for me, and like course refunds dropped quite a bit. I think it's somewhere like 20+%. And just the enthusiasm that the students have after I send them a personal message, which I do 100% like one-on-one, a message to the person, they're thrilled. So that's how I use it specifically. And you mentioned, a CRM plugin to help basically bring people through the customer journey. So it sounds it's pretty niche, I would say. So how did this product come about?
So we ran an agency, and we're based here in Australia, which is the middle of nowhere. And our clients were in the UK primarily. So we dealt with big FMCG clients, so UK, Paris, New York. Now, when you live on the other side of the world in the complete opposite time zone, then converting sales leads isn't the easiest. So we decided, we actually were in video tech, so we kind of understood the space a little bit. And I started sending personalized videos to every single lead that we have come into our funnel. So we built a little hack. So I used to take a ferry to work. So I'd be on a boat, wind in my hair, couldn't really understand what I was saying. But, I'd see John from Ogilvy signed up, and I'd be like, hey, John, this is Matt here from the Sydney team of the company was called Verbate. We already work with Danone and Procter & Gamble and Unilever, and here's some of the projects we've done. And I'd love to have a chat or come in and pitch you guys when I'm in London in 8 weeks' time. And so the first piece of contact they had of me was that video. It was very casual. We kind of winged it, but it worked amazingly. And so we tripled our kind of conversion rate overnight. And the reason, looking back with hindsight, wasn't the fact that I was doing these videos. It was the fact that in a world where everyone was kind of just sending out automated kind of lead follow-ups and trying to like get sales and demos straight away, I was kind of taking a minute out of my day to kind of connect personally. And so it was that time that I was giving up. Look, it was probably quite funny as well. It was quite unique, so it stood out. But it also got across my personality, and they watched it. And being creative agencies and creative companies, they were like, look, these look like guys that we should have a chat to at least. And so we started to book a lot more demos off that. Now, honestly, probably wouldn't have thought much more of it until one of those clients asked if they could use this video email tool. This is 2 years ago, and we were like, yep, go for it. And so we put them on it. It looked like a dog's dinner. It wasn't built for anyone except ourselves. They managed to get it working, and then lo and behold, one of their clients then came to us and asked if they could use it. And so, talk about side hustles. One thing you shouldn't do when you're running a new business is start a second business. And me and my CTO, I think we maybe had like 2 more people come in and ask if they could use it. And we're having beers on a Friday, and we're like, we're going to need to build this. And so we built a very early beta version. We got it out, and then honestly, it just snowballed. And that company has now overtaken the original company. Well, it overtook it quite a while ago. To the extent that that's where most of the team, where 90% of the team now work on their day-to-day basis.
Okay. And Verbate was an agency doing some work, and it's still out there operating, but just smaller.
Yeah. It does video research so it does video qualitative research. So it's talk about niche. I mean, look, it's a huge niche. It's research. I'm not obsessed with research, but we basically go and collect videos of people in developing countries that come back of them product testing and using demos. So it's actually a very different business model whereby you're doing sales and client development, whereas interestingly, Bonjoro is generally an inbound kind of business. We do a lot of affiliates, of like marketing through affiliates as well. So not only do we start a new business, we start an entire new business model, which has been interesting, I will say, to the least.
Sure. Do you have any like fun stories of mistakes that you made as you were like transitioning and like running the 2 businesses at the same time and like moving over?
Oh, so many. I think like, so you come from the sales industry, so we were great. We were doing pitching, yeah. So pitching to large clients, long sales times, 6 months plus to get in there. Very, very sticky clients, very different process. Bonjoro had to go and build an inbound funnel. Now, at the beginning, I'd still go and do a lot of sales calls, and coffee meetings and in-person meetings. And what I learned is that it sounds brutal, but it's actually a waste of time for this business model. So we still do demos, we still do onboarding, but we do it all over Zoom and online. As you can see today, I'm at home before heading into the office like early in the morning for the States. Now, it actually allows us to get a lot more meetings done than we would do face-to-face. It allows us to hit the point quicker. We have clients who are moving faster and who purchase faster. So at the beginning, we kind of like, we tried to shoehorn that kind of old process into the new business. And I mean, luckily we were getting enough inbound that was driving us ahead, but we had a real struggle trying to convert that way. And we were running out of time. We were pulling all hours and it was kind of killing us. Recently we went through a big change, and we've actually streamlined operations massively. So that now we can handle a lot, probably 3 or 4 times as many customers per individual in the company than we could at the beginning. And that streamlined process has allowed us to grow a lot faster, scale a lot faster, and it's reduced the stress of the team, which is great as well.
Wow. And so just through streamlining the process, now, was that just through iterating and seeing where the weak points were, or how did you approach that like improvement and being able to scale to that many more customers?
So a lot of iteration. Like some will be product, so some is product development. So onboarding, the way we build the UX and the UI and learning. Some is our CS process as well. So how we do onboarding CS, where we take our time with clients. Some is about team growth as well. So we are So we're 12 people, but we're in 6 countries now. So we've taken the kind of idea of remote working and then just kind of ramped it up. So again, being based in Australia, when our customer base is mostly States followed by Europe, this makes sense a bit as well. But obviously trying to cover those time zones, we've actually found that we could be a lot more efficient working across different countries. So different people are awake at different times. They're refreshed at different times. They actually bring different industry knowledge as well. For instance, we moved all our support. So our support is now in South Africa compared to Australia or the US, which is more cost effective. It's a better time zone. We're able to get so much more experience as well. So again, starting to look at the world as your playground rather than just your country, like I can tell you, it opens up opportunities you wouldn't imagine exist.
Very cool. And you said you have just 12 employees. That's it?
That's it. Yeah.
Wow. Any like contractors out there, freelancers doing pieces of work, or is it just the 12?
Yeah. So we have contractors here and there. Like our illustrator is a children's book illustrator based in Poland, a mother of a couple of kids. So yeah, we do spend. I mean, one thing we do is we do source our team and our contractors pretty intensely. I think if you want to go lean, the key is you have to get really good people in each role. And obviously you're looking for people who can fulfill quite a substantial role with this kind of number of team members. So rather than kind of doing things in-house and over here and maybe picking up people who are kind of like Bs rather than As, when you get the world, like again, you just find A players in their niches and it's far more efficient, And you can start freelancing, and then when they get up to speed, make that offer, bring them on full time.
Gotcha.
Or being a full time contractor. If you don't have to go and set up companies and everything else. If you want to do a full time contracting role, you still then involve those team members into team calls, into all the culture pieces. Like we fly our team together each year as well. So if you start to buy people into that, then they'll buy in anyway, and they'll give you more and more over time.
Gotcha. And it sounded like you had a co-founder with your CTO, I guess. And would you call yourself the CEO of the company, or is there a title?
Papa Bear. So, yeah, CEO. Honestly, it still doesn't quite fit. Still fits weird with me because it still feels like you're the boss, and I'm like we're a team,
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, I was doing some research ahead of time, and people could go check out like all the team members on the About page. I'll put a link in the description and all that stuff. But I'm like shocked that the team's so lean, and I love that because I came from a sort of a corporate background where teams were big. You have a lot of waste introduced into that. Now it's interesting to me with 12 people. Does everyone report to you, or is there some layer of management that I guess reduces the number of like points of contact that you have to, work with on a daily basis?
Yeah, so we've started to bring in layers. And obviously, as you start to grow, you start to hire kind of mid-level juniors as well. And to be fair, we only have one. We have probably one junior member in the team, and a couple mid-levels, and then we have hired mid-senior. So we tend to hire people who to be honest, are quite like us, and who are kind of like on their journey at that kind of second, third stage, but aren't kind of set in their ways. In terms of reporting, yeah, we have to structure that. We obviously work in teams, so I kind of sit more on the product team. I have a great COO as well, who's like my right-hand man. And having that kind of core team, so we have what we call a brains trust call once a week, which involves my head of marketing, my CTO, my COO, and myself. So between the four of us, we essentially make the decisions for the company and run the company. And so that Monday meeting, it's quite strict. It's about half an hour long. And all we do is bring decisions to the table to be made. So that could be anything. It could be just should we invest in this type of channel? In marketing, should we make this product decision? It's not really for chit chat. It's kind of just to get the decisions made. And given the fact that we're in different locations, that happens every single week without fail. So I think as long as you have that core team around you, like as you grow, you do struggle trying to manage the team, and like you need to put structure in place. You need to put hierarchy in place. You can't have a completely flat organization, past a certain number of people.
Yeah, I think it's something like, or I heard once the optimal is like 6. Otherwise, at that point, it gets to be a little bit too many. So, it's different
Yeah,
for everyone.
I think tribal sizes was that they go up in 7, so you kind of have like 7, and then you hit 21, then you go up to whatever's next.
It's like 63. Yeah, I think it's like 3x. Like every time you triple it, you run into some network issues with the number of contact. I don't know all the science behind it, but I think we're talking about the same thing.
So. Yeah, I mean, it happens. I mean, when you're in it, you see it and you see those breakdowns. And we've like our biggest failures have probably been with team. Like we've had team breakdowns and we've had miscommunication and we've struggled to find a way and a process that works across different time zones. Like remote working. I think a lot of people talk about remote working within the States, and it's still a level easier because you're on the same time zone. Remote working on completely different time zones is hard. Like it is hard. And when you have team issues, they are compounded because people can't just talk. And you will have them because you'll have difficulties and you'll have challenges and you'll have miscommunication and disagreements. That's a healthy part of the team. Multiple time zones make it very difficult to manage.
I want to go back to one of the things you mentioned before, I guess, before Bonjoro came to be. You were making informal videos and you said you're on a boat or something like that. And I know that's definitely a contrast with the other marketers that were potentially approaching the leads or the prospects or whatever they were. Is there anything else that you think the informal approach like brings to the table? Like, why is it so effective? And I've seen it too, where like even a bad video that I do where the sound isn't great is so much better than like a template email. So what are your observations with this?
Like say the workplace has changed a lot and it's changing more. So we say informally, really it's just pulling down the barriers, the corporate barriers that existed before. I think it used to be, if you go back 20 years, 30 years time, it was suits and ties for work and then t-shirts for home, and never the two shall mix. And that has changed, and you see it with our customer base. We have like so many of our like my podcasts are doing things that, people are in their home, they're not in the office, they're not wearing ties. We do have clients in suits and ties. We do corporate, but even those guys, the videos they do that make sense, the ones when they're on the coffee meetings. And what it is it's not actually fundamentally changed. People have always liked people. Relationships have been key to why you want to work with people, why you want to go back. You used to do it when you used to go to your grocer every single day, and you knew your name and knew your order and everything else. And then we've kind of gone online, and we've an online kind of forces barriers even more in the wrong direction, because suddenly there's a physical like distance between clients and businesses. If you get back to the informality and to the kind of conversational piece, you start to make bonds with customers again as people, not as customers, if that makes sense. I think people crave that. I mean, we are social animals. We're meant to exist in groups. We're meant to socialize, meant to talk, and in today's life online, that's harder to do. So when you do stand out, potentially, this is maybe this is a thing of the moment until it becomes commonplace. Right now, I think people crave that interaction. It's very different. It's not normal. You obviously spending time with a client is therefore valued, more than it potentially should be, because no one else is doing it. So break down barriers, take the ties off. But we see something like, I think it's something like 30% of the messages sent on Bonjoro are sent on people's commutes to work. And so I find that fascinating, because what it means is a fundamental shift in how people are going to and from the workplace. So they're using the commute time for productive work, whereas they would do it for reading, whatever else before. They're using that to connect with customers before they get into the office and become the office person. And it's just turning that journey into a whole different, into like a journey to work is now a journey with customers.
Right.
It's super interesting, yeah. And people are on the streets. People are in cafes and crossing the roads and having cars honk at them and stuff. But it's beautiful, yeah. It's amazing. You look at that, and you're like, this is back to real life.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. So I work from home, so I walk the dog every morning. So usually my dog Georgie ends up in any of the Bonjoros that I send, and people really appreciate it because it's like, hey, you're out on the walk with me this morning, and I show her on the camera and whatever. So yeah, very, very interesting. It's all personal. I love it. So I know obviously Bonjoro started from a pivot. Where do you see, like, whatever you can reveal, like, where do you see Bonjoro going in the future? Like, videos becoming obviously more and more prevalent, super important. I've shifted a lot of my stuff over to YouTube, just in general. But yeah, what other stuff do we have coming from Bonjoro?
Yeah, so at the core of it, you hear me say this, again and again, is that I don't think it's about video. I think video is a medium, and video supports what it is that we're doing. So what we're doing is basically encouraging people to spend more time with customers at the right time. So I think, if you look at our business, we say that we have made operations very lean. We've reduced, we've put automation in, but the automation is there to reduce the jobs that I don't have to do, so I can do the jobs where my time is important, and that turns out to be a lot of time spending that time on customers. Even though we have a pretty huge customer base, if I spend little bits of time here and there at the right time, that's valuable, and that helps us convert and retain clients and hence reduce churn, as we were saying. So where I see Bonjoro going is into a system that helps you predict when to plug that time into clients. Now, we'll offer communication tools. So yes, video, of course, we're expanding our video capabilities into screencasting and into other areas. But I don't think it has to be limited to that one medium. I think whatever medium works at the time, as long as you can show that you're there being personal and thinking about the client and giving them real value. Now, obviously, that could be text. It could be, blogs that are catered towards individual clients in some kind of way. Right now, we're focusing on building essentially a campaign engine that allows you to run an onboarding campaign or a retention campaign or a conversion campaign that's a little bit smarter about when to talk to certain clients. One of the things we do is off CRMs and mailing lists and off lead forms, we actually pull information into Bonjoro so we can tell you what steps that client has already done. So when you're sending a message, you can personalize it to them. And so again, a little bit more smarts around how do we help people do the personalization thing at scale. So you never have to spend more than 30 seconds, but in that time, you can make each piece of content genuinely unique to that individual. So really it's that engine. And if we can crack that, and it's not an easy thing to do, it's quite a large thing. We see us as kind of the kind of human layer that sits on top of all these other systems that kind of generally purely do automation. And so you've got your automation that runs, which is super important, and then you have us for these high value touch points that again increase, the lifetime value of any client, whether it's say having them stay longer, having more of them convert, having less of them lead, having more of them turn to demos. That's where we come in.
Got it. Very cool. And to that point, I'll point people towards like some of the use cases that you have on the website, but is there like some particular use case where someone used Bonjoro in a way that you had no idea that it could be applied to?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot. The most common use case is converting leads. If anyone wants to use it, that's kind of where you start. I see, so we have a lot of charities using us, thanking donors. E-commerce is pretty interesting. We see people basically using it to drive Trustpilot reviews. So it's pretty specific, yeah. It's post-purchase, and they're using it to basically move their stores up into kind of number one places on Trustpilot, which is generating new traffic that comes in. So using it actually to grow the business is not about conversion or activation. We have universities that use it to offer places to students, where they have lecturers and deans sending out offer letters, and attached to the video is the letter of acceptance. Don't know where that came from, but it's crazily effective. It's probably our most effective use case. I was chatting to one of the universities, and they were like, "You made us a lot more money than what we paid you." And I was like, "Should we put our price up?" He was like, Not for us, but you probably should. But again, but if you look at it really, so I look at that use case, I'm like, honestly, that's still conversion. It may be a university, but that's their conversion funnel. So we're still technically doing. I think everything still falls into conversion, activation, and growth is the whole super fans advocacy piece. Much harder to measure, but there's a piece there which says, if you delight customers, if you take time with them, they are going to talk about you. They are going to stay around longer. They are going to take those steps towards becoming a super fan. Pat is extremely good at that and has a methodology. It's harder to measure because it's not like it becomes a direct conversion and a direct bottom line the next day. I think advocacy is one of those things which is very hard to get your head around correctly. But if you don't do it, you're always going to be selling. And if you do it rightly, then you get a viral growth engine.
It's so interesting because, like everyone's like, I want to scale, I want to automate. There's all these tools, but as soon as you take yourself out of it, then we kind of look like everybody else. We're all using the same marketing tools, and we've read the same books, and we have the same ideas. But when, when I'm out walking the dog, like no one else can do that specifically. Yeah. So, all right.
And it's brand as well. I mean, your brand is you with the dog. That's not my brand. Our brand is Australia and Bursuits and God knows what else. Yeah, like the easiest way to do brands are not logo. Brands can have an ethos and the people behind the business. Yeah, and the easiest way to differentiate yourself is to get your people out in front.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. So, is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, or anything else you want to mention before we jet?
Any difficult questions? I mean,
I did. Okay, I just thought of one. Yeah, when we were chatting beforehand, people don't know this, but we were chatting beforehand, and I was like, "That's not a gotcha interview," and Matt was like, "Oh, come on, I'll take whatever you could throw at me." Okay, so I know in the the marketing world, there's a lot of not necessarily. Actually, there are copycats. So I imagine there are competitors for Bonjoro, although Bonjoro was the first product of the type that I ever saw. But since you've launched and got a lot of traction, have there been some competitors that are, doing interesting things? You don't have to mention them here, but if you want to, you can.
I'll mention them.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we weren't the first. Hands up, yeah. Like, there's a company called BombBomb who were there before us. Quite a few years before. We didn't go out and copy them. We fell into this by accident. So I think when you see copycats, if they're pretty soon something big, then yeah, they're a copycat. Sometimes, like, honestly, it's a case of people come up with the same ideas. And when you do a new business, I can promise you someone has tried it before. Whatever you do, and I know, I've been through a failed startup that somebody in the States told me they tried to build, and they told me why it would fail. And I was like, whatever, I'll do it. And then it failed, as it does. So BombBomb tends to be focused on real estate. One of the things I said was that just doing video messages, I don't think is enough. So BombBomb have built those out into basically like a real estate CRM where they're doing a lot of video, basically video email platform. They go into kind of a MailChimp email system, and they're doing kind of like generic messages and everything else that go out. That's great. We've got Loom who do obviously screen recording. Those Vidyard tends to do a video suite for kind of larger companies, so generally kind of sales funnels and larger companies like HubSpots and stuff. Where we come in again, and I think all of us have gone, video is not the answer. It's kind of it's just a mechanism. We really focus down on this idea of using it as a funnel piece. So obviously, like I said, it's about personalization. And video is the medium. I think video is this bucket where everyone's gone, oh, you're a video company. I'm like, you don't tell MailChimp and and Intercom and Ad Campaign that they're words companies. Like, again, video is just a medium. Yeah, we're not YouTube. We're completely different. Yeah, like that's content to share. So start getting away from the idea of thinking video is a box. Video is a medium. Millions of companies could use video in a million different ways. What you're looking for is where is it just beyond, obviously, messaging. And with us, we really, really focus on send a personalized message to Jane in Orlando at, the second that she puts her credit card in, or the second that she starts to, become a lapsed user. Whereas other systems tend to be like, you can use videos to send them whenever you want to, or you can send screencasts whenever you want to. We're very much like a part of your funnel. And so maybe one of the hard things to get around is the idea of having a task list where basically if you're plugged into a CRM or a Patreon or something else, every morning you come in and there's 20 videos there to send because something has happened in the funnel. So, we still do automation. We automate that part of it. Try out other tools, play around with them. Start using video regardless. If you're not using video already, start using it. The good thing about using something like a one-to-one messaging system is that it will train you quick. When you've done 50, 100, I think I've done maybe 15,000 videos. Honestly, you just don't care anymore. And that's beautiful because when you then come to do podcasts, or you come to do YouTube content, or you come to do meetings or anything, you're just kind of pre-trained. It will come like, you watch any sci-fi film, Blade Runner, you name it. And when everyone comes to the door, when everyone's having calls, it's always video chat. It's always like there is no such thing as phones anymore. Like, that day will come when we just get rid of doing the audio, because why would we? And people go, oh, I get nervous in front of the camera. And I'm like, we don't get nervous in front of me when we're having a coffee. Like, what's the difference?
Right. It's so funny you mentioned that. Probably the first 10 or so of my Bonjoros were a little rough, but now like it's autopilot. I could be, it's still a personal message, but I could be thinking about the grocery list or whatever else is going on. Cause I've done probably, it's just a drop in the bucket compared to you, Matt, but I think I've done maybe 400, something like that. So
yeah, that's still a lot of videos. I'm not our biggest sender. We have customers who send more than me, and I'm like, how do you do it? Like, there's some people out there that are machines. But hey, like even doing one a day, it gets you over this false idea that you're not good enough on a video. It's like us here. This is a video. It's just me having a chat to you. If we're in a coffee shop, it'd be the same. That's a bit. I still struggle with how do people not realize that? But it's you are changing behavior. It's changing human behavior, which is hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big hurdle. I mean, I remember my first YouTube videos. Also, I was like super nervous. They're still out there, if people want to go check them out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like scared for some reason, and it was literally me in a room by myself. No reason to be scared. But yeah, now that I've done a few hundred other videos, then it's just whatever. It's fine. Like there's a lot of other things to be scared of. So
definitely get on it, try it out, jump on the bandwagon. It's going to happen anyway. So
right. Very cool. All right, Matt, anything else?
Look, I've got one. We have a tagline. I think it's pretty good though. I think when you're thinking about things like this, when you're thinking about scaling your business and, do get your operations lean, it is a much better way to grow. We always say, automate processes, but never relationships. And so I think that's the key. If you can do that well, so take out the processes, because that's the stuff you don't need to do, and focus on the relationships with team, with customers, with partners. If you take investment, with investors, if you're affiliates, with your affiliate groups, focus on those relationships, automate everything else. You do that and you'll grow a lot faster, but it's hard.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Matt. I appreciate it. And for people that want to connect to you, I know I'll send them over to Bonjoro, and they can see a lot of the tool in general. They can see the about page. Is there anywhere else that you're like active and you want people to follow you?
Honestly, just email me. So matt@bonjoro.com. If you sign up, you'll get a video from one of us anyway. So you'll see it in action.
Awesome.
But just email me. I'm not much on Twitter. I'm just on video.
Okay. Yeah, I don't do Twitter. I can't keep up with everything, and yeah, it's no good for me. So
pick your medium.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Matt. Really appreciate it. And everyone go check out Bonjoro.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot to Matt of Bonjoro. And I think it could be really interesting to use Bonjoro in a different sort of use case. So I know that a lot of people that are watching this are into affiliate marketing or some portion of SEO or something like that. I think it could be really cool to use Bonjoro as a piece of the funnel to maybe network within your niche to help you get guest posts or something like that. I'm not sure how it would work exactly, but it could be a really cool way to completely stand out from the crowd. I typically get a few emails a day across my various websites about people, they want a link, they want to, do me a favor and publish content on my website, which I know that they're inserting links to either their site or they're inserting links to many other sites and charging people for it. And I think if you have these personalized video messages, there's no mistake that it's a very high touch situation. You're actually trying to, bridge the gap, and you're not just sending out like automated emails. So, like I said, it could be really interesting to use Bonjoro in a specific use case that fits exactly what you're trying to do. So, anyway, I think Bonjoro is a great tool, and I will leave it at that. So, if you're new to the channel, thanks for checking out this video. Have a look at some of the others. If you like what you see, please subscribe.